Good evening, my lovelies, or good day if you're watching this the next day. This is a review for Picard Season 2, Episode Dos. Hola, my good friends. And I had just finished watching the second episode of the repurposing power of Kurtzman Trek. And, well, we've got a lot to talk about, including so many member berries, I really couldn't keep track. That was pretty much all my notes. But as we suspected last week, there is a lot of repurposing going on, including Star Trek First Contact and Star Trek IV The Voyage Home. And there's probably others mixed in that I'm forgetting. Lots of Deep Space Nine love in this one. I'm not really sure. And Nam, I wrote down his name, and I couldn't find it. So I'm just going to have to say the guy from 12 Monkeys. We need to talk about the guy from 12 Monkeys, the guy who's writing this. I'm sorry I forgot your name, sir. 12 Monkeys was a show on Sci-Fi, ran for 4 seasons. I did review it on this channel, and I did like the show. I thought it was kind of fun. Wasn't anything like the movie, which I love. I'm a big Terry Gilliam fan. And he is writing for this show, and you can definitely feel his influence, especially with one specific thing that we're going to talk about in this show. Of course, I'm going to spoil it because I'm assuming most of you didn't watch it. Remember, they decided to release Picard on the week Batman came out. the Batman, sorry. And that's so Paramount Plus, isn't it? Like the one thing they actually, and I'm not going to use the word improve, the one thing they made less shitty, they decided to premiere it against arguably one of the biggest movies of the year. And in the pop culture space, in the nerd space, we could watch a show and a movie at the same time, but when something dominates the conversation, like the Batman did last week, maybe you wait a week. But I mean, I really don't care. This is unsolicited advice from somebody who just doesn't care. Picard Season 1 was The Last Jedi of Star Trek. It was absolute garbage through and through. Yes, I did watch Red Letter Media's review of Picard, and I mean, I kind of agreed with their assessment. They probably liked it a little more than I did, I would say. But I think a lot of that is starving man or woman, because we're not sexist here. We're really not. In the desert. We don't want women starving in the desert, though. So let's just do starving man in the desert. And we had a starving man in the desert who saw some recognizable ships, some recognizable things, and went, wow, it doesn't totally suck. I think the guy who wrote, and again, I apologize, I'm spacing your name. I'm getting older. I have to remember a lot of things, and just some things fall through the cracks, especially kids just don't do drugs. I did a lot of them in the 80s, and it does damage to your brain. It really does, especially those psychedelics. And I thought the guy is definitely probably a good influence on this show. Is it going to save it? No, I think we're being completely set up. The one thing I will give Red Letter Media credit for that I completely missed was the Borg Queen that showed up at the end of the last episode is definitely Picard's mom. It's so Picard's mom. I'm like, how could I have missed that? I was too busy. I was too distracted by the tentacles that came out that reminded me of the tentacles that came through the space butthole at the end of last season. I will say that Soji, the girl who is the key to everything, isn't even in this episode. They are just trying to memory hole a lot of stuff. But Elnor, or Elrond, makes a big comeback. Why? I don't know. Now, as you all know, Q showed up at the end of last episode, and he's at the beginning of this one. And because they spoiled it all in the trailers, Picard and the crew of the not Rocinante, I forgot what the Espanol name was for the ship that looked like a piece of tin foil put together that flies around through space, is somehow transported into a totalitarian nightmare, kind of like what we're in now. The thing is, when you make stuff, a couple of years ago or based on a couple of years ago, and then, I don't know, life radically changes around all of us, they might be unintentionally sending a message about a guy they supported openly. Just saying. Oh, there is definitely a little Orange Man bad in this. Oh, not a little. A lot of Orange Man bad in this towards the end. So Q and Picard talk. They are transported into a totalitarian nightmare that's not the mirror universe. But within the first couple of minutes, Q is running a monologue, and he says yesterday's Enterprise, a mirror darkly, which, of course, are Star Trek references, good Star Trek, which they want to remind you so badly of, and listen, and having Q back, I love Q. I freaking love Q. But apparently Q's not well. Now, the reason we say this is because Picard notices this. I don't necessarily notice it. I mean, his eyes look a little wild, but, apparently Q isn't well. So if you remember at the end, the Borg Queen said they wanted help. They sent out a distress signal. The Federation shows up. The Borg Queen starts assimilating all the ships. But she wasn't killing anybody. She was just stunning people. And then she said, look up right before the self-destruct on the Enterprise goes off and blows everybody up. Now, that is something Picard's mom said to him in the flashbacks, where either dad was abusing her or she disappeared and got assimilated. I don't know. I don't know. But I think that's and full credit to Red Letter Media. It's a theory I absolutely believe until we don't see it, because that would just be so Kurtzman Trek. The one thing I did notice that was different from last episode is Patrick Stewart just sounds tired, and the poor guy. I mean, I don't want to be ageist or anything, but he sounds fucking old. He just sounds tired and old. So he's trying to plead with Q. He's like, come on, I'm just tired of this. Can you just get to the point? And we're at the end of the road not taken. And he takes him through his Chateau Picard, where there is slave Romulans. Now, why do you need slaves when you're in the 24th century and you could just make a robot, or you can make the robots your slave and bring back the theme that you had last year, right? But instead they decided to make the Romulans. Maybe it's through subjugation and cruelty, whatever. And as they're going through Chateau Picard, we see that Picard is now occupying the body, or the space, we'll say, of a General Picard of the Confederation. It's not on the nose, is it? And he goes into a skull room. He's got a skull room. So there's a bunch of weapons, and it's straight up Star Trek, member Barry Land. And yes, there's a skull room. And he has the skulls of, there's a Borg skull. There's a Ferengi skull. There's a Cardassian skull. It's Dukat. There's a Klingon skull. And that is Martok, General Martok. And Sarek's skull. Martok was killed with, I guess they killed the Klingons with a virus. General Picard killed him with a virus and then defeated him in one-on-one combat. Dukat is the reason he's got the synthetic body. So they did mention it twice. So apparently he did kill Picard and they had to make a synthetic body because Dukat killed him. And Sarek was decapitated on the steps of the Vulcan Science Academy in front of his wife and son. I imagine a much older son. And I forgot the name. They don't name. It's not the Enterprise. It's the Star Razor, right? And it's just conquered the universe for humanity. So this is a xenophobic totalitarian empire, fascist regime that is just out for humanity. So all aliens bad. All aliens bad. And it was indeed Q who transported not everybody from the Stargazer, but just, key members. So we have 7 of 9 gets transferred, Raffi, Rios, Agnes, and Elnor. I'm going to say Elron all the time. It's Elnor. And Picard finally, after he talks to Q, he's like, I'm just not going to do this. I refuse. And Q was talking about atonement. There's something that Picard needs to atone for. But in this reality, it's impossible. The blood on your hands is unwashable, he says. But unless you atone for something. And Q says, and I think you know what it is. Picard says he refuses. Then he disappears. Then one of the synthetic from last season, Harvey, shows up and basically says, who are you talking to? He says, I don't know. Well, he says he knows. You didn't hear anything? He said, no, I didn't hear anything. And then just kind of blows it off. So he's got a shuttle coming in a couple of hours and he has to meet the president. The president who happens to be 7 of 9, Annika, who wakes up, and I guess some of you might have seen this in the trailer if you cared, without any Borg implants. She wakes up human. And everybody's got to think quick, right? So they're all waking up in this reality, and they're all in positions of power, and they all have to start acting like they know what the hell they're doing. Of course, somebody gets put in as president. Of course, it's 7 of 9, right? And she's got a husband who's a magistrate. I didn't remember the guy's name. I'm just going to call him the magistrate. And they're getting ready for Eradication Day. By the way, the home of the xenophobic empire is San Francisco, California. I just got a good chuckle out of that, because that's where Starfleet Academy is. I can totally see a totalitarian empire being in San Francisco, to be honest with you, having lived there for 18 years. They're real sycophants for power. They are. So it's Eradication Day. She wakes up. She's confused. Her husband, the magistrate, kind of sees there's something wrong, but he's not sure, right? So she is able to kind of get it together. She goes into her office and says she wants to know what's going on with the Vulcan war. There's a war with Vulcan. And she wants to talk to somebody on the ground. But she's offered Cisco. And she says, no, I don't want to talk to Cisco. I want to talk to I want an unfiltered opinion on the ground. Give me this Rios guy. So they find Rios, and he's on his old ship in the middle of a Vulcan war. He doesn't know what's going on either. And he kind of catches on quick. Of course, the president gets a secure line to him, and she's like, hey, if you feel like something out of the ordinary has happened, you are free to talk because we're on a secure line. And then he goes, 7. And they're like, what's up? I don't know. I was on the Stargazer. Now we're here. We got to figure out what's going on. Magistrate, I think it's the magistrate, comes in and says General Picard's on his way. Meanwhile, in Okinawa, there is a terrorist attack by Romulans who are enslaved there, I guess. And they blow up 5 buildings for 5, for Kronos and Vulcan. And they blow up 5 buildings filled with innocent people and they're celebrating it. And Elnor is there talking to some girlfriend who ends up getting shot. And then he's surrounded by police. And Rafi happens to be like the head detective, chief, whatever. Not really sure. So that was lucky. I don't know why Elnor's there, because Elnor wasn't on the Stargazer. They sent him off. But Rafi and Elnor are there. Probably because they were in Picard's mind. I don't know. It's important for the show. That's all you need to know. That's all I need to know. Doesn't need to make sense. It's Kurtzman Trek. So she's going to bring him in for questioning. Long story short, because I don't want to sit there and describe this damn show all damn day. They all get together. They all get together with Agnes. Agnes, you know the murderer? The one they made a big joke about Bruce Maddox getting killed. She should be in prison. And they just said, it's an alien-induced psychosis. And the drummer for Scott Pilgrim, by the way, I thought she was great as the drummer for Scott Pilgrim. Kind of annoying as hell in this show. She's the awkward person because Hollywood thinks that Kurtzman Trek thinks that all Star Trek needs to have awkward person to identify with the nerds because we're all awkward, get it? We're not all awkward. Hollywood has just a simplistic view on everything. They're collectively dumb as hell. So that's why we get stuff like this. Agnes, I heard the voice of Patton Oswalt and I almost turned it off. So Agnes has a digital cat named Spot. So there's another Star Trek reference. Another Star Trek. And I'm not keeping up with half of them. There's tons of them. Tons of member berries in this. It's Spot 75 or 6 or 3 or I don't even know. Of course, a reference to Data's cat. And it's voiced by Patton Oswalt. And I just wanted to turn things off right now. I used to like that guy. Can't stand him now. Complete D-bag. So Agnes has the Borg Queen, but it's more of a traditional Borg Queen. Now, it's not the Borg Queen from Voyager or even from First Contact, but it's supposed to be, right? Different actress, though. But it's not the Borg Queen from the end of the last episode, which is probably most definitely Picard's mom. Which will just be. Why are we dealing with mommy, daddy issues and Picard finding love when he's 97? Now, I know 97 is probably 77 in the 24th century, but still. Quite frankly, Patrick Stewart's kind of looking at it right now. So, Annika Hansen, President Annika Hansen, has to get ready for Eradication Day. Meanwhile, everybody gets together, the crew gets back together, and they use Elnor as kind of the distraction. So everybody's like, what the hell's going on here? And the magistrate even says, how dare you bring an alien near my wife, the president? And General Picard says it's for... we're going to interrogate, it's a sensitive piece of information that we're going to interrogate out of this prisoner. We need to go somewhere private. So they all get together with the Borg Queen, try to figure out what the hell's going on. And the Borg Queen's acting kind of strange when they bring her out. And she can contact herself in multiple realities. She gets echoes of herself in multiple realities. She figures out that time is broken. Time has been broken by Q. We don't know specifically, but they just ask her, they go, hey, why is it broken? And she said it's a fissure, some fissure or something like that put in time. Well, what's different? Oh, give me a second. Oh yeah, it's 2024. And they go, oh, well, what's different in 2024? Well, we need to find the Watcher. The Watcher. Now, if any of you watched 12 Monkeys, you will know about the Witness. Now, the Watcher is probably the opposite of the Witness, but the same. The Witness was always one step ahead of our heroes in 12 Monkeys, and I'm guessing the Watcher will be the Witness. That's the Watcher, because just Hollywood's filled with originality. And yes, the guy who wrote 12 Monkeys wrote this episode. So they need to find the Witness in 2024, Los Angeles. What a coincidence. What a budget-saving coincidence. Now, it's also probably because of COVID, but still. Pretty expensive to shoot in Los Angeles, by the way. But that's what Patrick Stewart demanded for his vanity project. Where are the other members of the crew of the Enterprise? Riker, Worf. Fuck if I know. Come in pretty handy right now. But we're still not bringing them in just yet. Just yet. I'm sure we'll see Riker later. So they decide they're going to go back in time, and they mention Kirk. That's right. They said Kirk was able to travel in time a couple of times. And then they said, well, Kirk had a Spock. And then they go, well, we've got the Borg Queen, and she has time travel capabilities in one of her USB drives in the back of her back. So, or it could be an Ethernet connection. I'm not sure. It could be USB or Ethernet. Either way, she's got a plug in her back. You plug in the back. She can travel in time. Very convenient. So they get back on, after they give us like Star Trek looking ships, right? They give us the Stargazer, and they look different this time, which is great and familiar, that's why we watch Star Trek. No, we're back on the shitty looking ship. But they have to give the big totalitarian speech first. So we go to a Trump rally. That's right. There's a Trump rally at the end. President Annika Hansen introduces General Picard, who's immensely popular. People are like, Picard, Picard, Picard. And he's supposed to pull off like this totalitarian general. And he does okay. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Stewart's a professional. He's a great actor. But he still sounds tired. He just does. But he does manage to pull this off a little bit, right? But the whole on the nose Trump rally thing, I mean, that's the shit I was waiting for. This is the shit. I was like, oh fuck. All right, well, because they had kept the identity politics and the bullshit out, but they went pretty heavy here. This is just on the nose. America's getting so xenophobic, so we're gonna show the most diverse Trump rally outside of, well, I don't know, actual real Trump rally, which were, like them or not, they were pretty diverse. So at least they got that part right. This is a pretty diverse Trump rally for General Picard, who gives a speech, and then he has to kill the Borg Queen, who's the last Borg. So somehow, and by the way, they have the same, technologically, they are the same at the same place that the Federation is. The Confederation, Federation, same place technologically. But through their focus of xenophobia, we're able to actually defeat the Borg. So they got the Borg Queen, and General Picard is going to execute her. And he kind of draws it out because they're going to beam everybody onto the ship and escape. And they do that. So they're able to get away, but only at an impulse power. And to make a long story short, the magistrate beams in, catches them, shoots Elnor, and then puts a gun to Picard's head, and that's where the episode ends. Now, we all know they're going to survive because we've seen the scenes, and it's only the second episode, so I don't know. But what this is Mystery Box Bullshit 101. So we have Q saying, you have to atone for something. You know what it is. but we're not even going to give you a hint right now. What's the atonement? I don't know. Maybe he feels like it's his fault that his mom was assimilated by the Borg. And maybe that's why he was picked by the board to be Locutus. By the way, they do call him Locutus this time. They didn't last episode, but they did this episode. So there's another member, Barry. And there's a lot more to come, I'm sure. And I'm sure I missed 10,000 of them, which you can put in the comment section or here in the chat, and that's okay. Do I believe that they're making an effort to get better? I think they are. But as I've said in many, and I have been reviewing Kurtzman Trek from the very beginning. Now, I know I skipped Prodigy and Lower Decks because they're stupid cartoons, and if people enjoy them, that's fine. And if you enjoy this, that's fine. I don't care. I don't. But I've always said that I do believe Kurtzman is trying his hardest. I believe this is the best he can do. I just don't think he's very talented. No, I know he's not very talented. And he's the wrong person for Star Trek. His mentor, Jar Jar Abrams, was the wrong person for Star Trek. Jar Jar Abrams, in a moment of clarity or just absolute arrogance, said, hey, I don't even watch this shit. And they still gave him the job. He's still trying to make stuff out there when they announced Star Trek 4 without notifying the cast, which was so Jar Jar Abrams, like vintage Jar Jar Abrams. But Kurtzman, the last thing he did before Star Trek was The Mummy. And in an interview, he said he needed Star Trek because his career was going to shit. Now, Kurtzman, famous, he he's famous for crossing the lines during the strike. And a lot of the bullshit that we're seeing in Hollywood does stem from that strike. That strike did open the door for a lot of stuff. There's a lot of little factors that went into the current era of garbage woke Hollywood that we have today. And just on an aside note, I was thankful to see a Joe Rogan episode, a clip, where he talked about something I have been talking about on this channel for many, many years. A good sign of how healthy our country is and how Hollywood is our ability to laugh at ourselves. And Joe Rogan brought up something to a fellow comedian. Two professional comedians had a hard time figuring out when the last good comedy was. And quite frankly, it's been almost 10 years since we had a good, classic, great comedy. Now, I haven't seen the new Jackass movie yet, so that might count, but we're talking about a written comedy film like The Hangover or 40-Year-Old Virgin. We can't do that anymore. So the ability to write freely is gone, which is the death of creativity. And this is something that Hollywood, this is a bed they have made. And one of the people who really tightened up, that made bed that you could bounce a fucking quarter off of is Kurtzman. They don't care about your cause. They never did. They just thought it was the best way to make money and, more importantly, make themselves look good. So they take beloved franchises that you and I have made what they are. The fans made it what they are. There was also some great creative people who made this really special show that a lot of people loved for a long, long time. And you might favor Deep Space Nine. You might favor Next Generation. Like, I have completely soured on Next Generation because the cast has acted like fucking idiots over the last few. I call it Star Trek. I don't call it the original series. That's my jam. That's the thing I grew up on. That's my favorite thing. And it's the best cast with the best captain. But I like Next Generation quite a bit. And DS9, I like even more. And I just don't want them to do anything with it. I want them to leave it alone. But we'll get to you guys. I do think they are making an effort. Now, is that the influence of the guy from 12 Monkeys? I think so. I do think so. Somebody reached out to me on Twitter. I haven't responded to him yet because I don't want to get him in trouble. But somebody reached out to me on Twitter who worked on this show, who worked on this season, and they just asked me a simple question, like what I think. What do I think? I thought that was interesting. I don't know if the guy's just, there's a very good chance he could just see, I see nerd in the name, and he's just going to assume like I'm going to be rah-rah nerd, and I'm not. I am non-chill. I will tell it like it is, how I see it. Okay, that's not a fact. It's just my opinion. That's all. It's not gospel. So haven't responded yet. I will, because it seems like just a nice guy. I was a crew member, right? And I was on an interview with Clifton Duncan today, and I said, I'll go after writers and I'll go after actors if they say something stupid. I'll go after their performance, but I try not to go after people, especially crew members, who, they just took a job. Nothing against them. But I also say that if they, and I know a lot of them feel very strongly against like what's going on right now, but they feel like they can't say anything, and I'm trying to encourage them to say things. Sure, it could risk your job, but you know what? Do you want to keep working in this industry the way it is right now? Probably not, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. All right, so we'll get to you guys. And thanks for being here. Eric K., of course, doing mighty work as a mighty mod, as a Nerdrotic. And thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. It's late. I really did put this off. I was working on a video today, working on a Super Chat Square Up today. And we go right there. All right. Let's see. Okay, we'll start out. Buford T. Justice for $40. Thank you, Buford T. Justice. Gary, when Mahler brings up the success of the second Spider-Man Tom Holland movie, tell him that a decent amount of its success was due to the fact that it was the first MCU movie after Endgame. Loving the studio, Gary. Thank you. It's being built. Mahler and I vehemently disagree on the first two Tom Holland films. But keep in mind, Mahler's perspective is purely MCU. That's his perspective. I still think he's wrong. What I love about the character of Spider-Man was his independence from the entire Marvel universe. Like, he didn't have time for teams. He got his own shit going on. And that's why he was such a different character in that universe. Peter Parker stands alone as one of the greatest characters ever created. Right up there with Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent. And he is the single most recognizable character from Marvel, and they don't even own the rights. That being said, you are correct. That did come out after Endgame, which definitely benefited because you had your eulogy for Tony Stark basically within that film. And it's a whole different ballgame now. And that's why Captain Marvel did well too. They sandwiched it in between those two sequels. So I think it had something to do with the success. It also had a massive drop off in the second week, but it did well worldwide. So it made $1 billion. That's a successful movie, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But there are a lot of successful things that I don't like. And there are a lot of things that bombed that I love. Fifth Element didn't do well. I liked it. Liked it a lot. Blade Runner did not do well. The first one. Loved it. I'm a big fan of a straight to Netflix movie with Will Smith that everybody hates, but I love it. I love Bright. Ken B for $1.99. Hail, Gary. Strange New Worlds bait and switch. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anson Mount, like Hell on Wheels, man. That show was the shit. My old co-host talked me into watching it, and that show was the shit. He was great at it. And man, he'd make a good aging Batman. Trucker Rob for $2 says, hail. Hail to you, Trucker Rob. If I can reach over here, hang on. I won't blow anybody's ears out, but this will be for you, Trucker Rob. Hail, brother. And thank you, truckers. Thank you, Canadian truckers. A lot of grateful Canadians. to you right now that are a little freer today. Minor Zycron for $2 says, "Hail, Gary, man, you are up late, brother." Yeah, it's 11:30. It's 11:30. I'm still getting used to Central Time. So my body was on Pacific Time for 52 years. And quite frankly, I feel like I'm on some weird jet lag, and it's been fucking with me. I've been staying up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. That ends tonight. I'm going to just force myself to go to sleep. I'll put on like the most boring audiobook I can think of. And, I mean, that's still like, yeah, it can't be. No, it's got to be boring. It's got to be boring. Otherwise, I'll stay up. But thank you guys for the super chats. I'll get to the regular chat here in just a moment. You sexy beasts. What's the date today? Is today the 10th? Destiny Captain for $3. And I'm going to have to, I do have my new glasses, but they're not that good. Thank you for the $3 donation. Avoiding Mama Susan says, "Gary, definitely feels like the influx of the Berman era people working on this show has changed things." Yes, it does. JJ activity discouraged those people from working on his Trek. Kurtzman has done this same. Will it still go down the crapper? Maybe. I think the chances are very likely it will. They have nowhere near earned any benefit of the doubt. But the last 2 episodes of Picard, while not being good, are not as bad as, like, Star Trek Discovery is just shit. Like, total shit. Picard season 1, total shit. These are watchable shit. It is. You can see the effort being made. So, I mean, do we encourage that? Yeah. Absolutely, you encourage that. I'm not sitting here being sold on it. I do not recommend Paramount Plus. I do not recommend sitting and watching Picard yet. No way. I would definitely, if you're thinking about it, wait till the season's over. Watch some reviews. Doesn't have to be me. Watch Red Letter Media said they're going to do a mid-season review. I'm going to do a season review video on my channel, but I have to do season 1 first. So there will be season 1 and there will be season 2. But I'll do this live stuff because it's low effort, to be honest with you. So thank you. Thank you for the donation. Let's get to the chat real quick here. We got the Grizzly for $50. Wow, thank you. The Grizzly. Here, let's give you a little applause there. Thank you. Highly Woke can't be saved. I think it's too far gone. And I believe it will be things like the Daily Wire will have to pick up the slack. I wish that wasn't the case. But how can the right get back into Hollywood at this point with how gated it is? Great question, for which I do not have an answer to. I will just say the one thing that I've noticed that has changed, and again, this is so far from fixing things, is there are people willing to talk now. I think that is, I'd say 3 years too late. 3 years too late. I'll have conversations, though. I'll certainly have conversations, but I don't know, Grizzly. What I believe will happen to entertainment is it will be fragmented. So Hollywood will still be the centralized location, but it already has been fragmented, and it's not the main source of entertainment anymore. No, the gaming industry is. Hollywood is now a very distant number 2. And it is extremely difficult to make independent films and television shows. So that will take years. But I think there will be more independence out there as time goes on. So we are at the beginning of the end. I think, honestly, we're seeing a lot of 20th century models die. I've said this before. The award show, the chat show, There's a lot of things that are disappearing now because there's a new reality TV, and it's us. And there's no way in hell they can compete with YouTube, with streamers. And sure, there's a Joe Rogan, but there's like 1,000 more Joe Rogans that people enjoy who get upwards of, with Tim Pool, you get 40,000 people. That's politics. I mean, there's tons of people talking entertainment, but that one's really fragmented. But yeah, you can watch a live stream with 10 people watching and be just as entertained as you can with any other live stream. And that's impossible to compete with. It really is. And quite frankly, that's where I go. I subscribe to a lot of channels. I watch a ton of live streams. I don't get involved in the conversations in the chat because, and like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm all that, because I'm not. I just don't want to derail their chat. It's people are awfully nice. They say hi, and then when they say hi, I feel like I need to say hi back to everybody, and then it just, but just know that if I subscribe to you, I'm probably watching your live stream and doing, putting up action figures on the wall because they're entertaining. You guys are great. The Common Nerd. And so many of you have taken it, picked up the microphone and done it. And I think that's inspiring and it's great. And the more of you that are here, the more common sense is here. And that starts the ball rolling. How long does it take? I have no idea. Do I wish it was over tomorrow? Yes. But there are little signs. I don't think we can ever expect Hollywood to like completely turn around. I think that's not realistic. And quite frankly, as somebody who's independent, but I have seen that the right has been painted and put into a corner, and horrible things have been said, but now that's the narrative. That's a narrative that needs to be broken and shattered into pieces. Okay. Just, it does. Because right now it's, if anybody shows support for the other guy, you are just considered the devil. The Common Nerd for $10. And quite frankly, it's not what art's about. The Common Nerd for $10. Missed you, brother. Quarter Black was supposed to make it so you could make more videos. Need more Nerdrotic content. Thanks for the inspiration. Let's roast the bad fan fiction. Thanks, Common Nerd. I actually am creating more content, but I haven't done the nooner. That's the thing I've kind of put aside, as sacrificed again, because I just need to get this studio done. And then once I get the studio done, I mean, I've got to spend some time with my family too, which I have not done a lot of since I've been here. And I've got to unpack. So yeah, things, I don't have the money to have people do this stuff for me. But no, I have made a lot more videos than I thought I would make because of the Lord of the Rings thing. Usually I'm 1 or 2 videos on a subject and I'm done, not 7. But I mean, I could make 2 more. There's 2 things out there I could make 2 more if I had the time. But thank you. Quarter Black has been a godsend, and Perry's been working his butt off, and they have been very helpful. I could not have done this without them. But thanks, Common Nerd. Ken B for $1.99 says, I read that one already. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get back to you guys real quick. There we are. Look at that moving. There we go. The Nerdporeal Life Form. Thanks for inspiring my channel, Garrett. You're welcome. Thanks for jumping on YouTube, making good content. We appreciate it. James Bursey for $10 says, hey, Gary, with Face Off 2, what? Face Off 2 in production, I am making you the golden 1911s. Get your rights back and come down to San Antonio and they'll all be yours. Holy shit. Well, I'm working on it. There's a couple of people who were very helpful out there, by the way. Thank you. You know who you are. I covered up Comic Division's Hobbit Hotel. I did, but that's my base. My base is in the case, and then I think I've got some Oh, it's like a, I don't know even know what, it's like a fabric poster that you get in the box set of Secret Wars, an Alex Ross one. I did not know there was a Face Off 2. That sounds like a terrible idea, but why not? That's right. Yum yum. No one's ever really gone. That's right, Simon C. Family first. No, but no, there will be a lot more content. I put out more videos in the last month than I have in a long time. We Quarter Black and I did a trailer reaction for Kenobi. I think they were joking, but somebody called me a sellout on Twitter because I covered it, and I'm like, I'm not going to be reviewing Kenobi. No. I'll report on the news, but I'm not going to be reviewing it. But it's on Nerdrotic Daily if you want to check it out. I made a huge error in it, though, but I did fix it. I said the goal for Disney Plus was like 230,000 subscribers. No, it's 230 million. My bad. Face Off 2, Face On. Yes, there we go. Oh, my. I just watched it, and I'm tapping out. I gave it 2 episodes, and nope, says Craig Road Jr. for $5. Yep. See, this is what happens. Craig, I got a question for you. Just answer in the chat below. Just respond. If this was the first season, would you have given it more time? If this is the first season, would you have given it more time? Because you burn people once, they're generally not going to go back. I can promise you this season is not getting a lot of attention. It wasn't trending the week it came out. I'd be surprised if it was trending today, unless they paid for it. Nope. He said nope. He just straight up said nope. Doesn't matter. Yeah. I don't know if I'll do a third season. I just don't know. And especially if they make the Borg Queen Picard's mom. And again, all credit to Red Letter Media for that one. Fuck that. I'm out. That's some stupid shit. I mean, in all the friggin' galaxy. What? You think that might have come up at some point? And again, I don't have encyclopedic knowledge of anything, but of Star Trek. Because, well, hell, I've only seen Enterprise season 3 or 4 once, and I was talked into it later because I dipped out of that show when it came out. The last time I watched DS9 all the way through was years ago. I've recently watched original series and Next Generation, though. I'd say in the last 2 years. I was hoping for a good show, but what the hell? I have books I read. I need to read. Yes. Gian Tratt. Read a book. Elric. Speaking of books, just a quick side note. My next video is going to be on George R. R. Martin's blog post. His blog post, which essentially is, fuck everybody. I'm going to do what I want, and I'm not going to finish The Winds of Winter. It's pretty much what he said, if you want to sum it up. Officially moving to San Antonio in 2 weeks. Freedom! Says D. I don't want to mess up your last name. Tudarosh. Thank you, and welcome to Texas. Freedom is nice. It's normal life here. There's still people who wear masks. I don't care if you want to wear masks. I'm not going to. I still think it's kind of dumb. And I saw Sydney Watson had a great rant. She's like shaming people who wear masks. I'm not there yet, but it's not many people. It's not many people, and it's normal life here, and it's great. It's great. Okay, I mean, I'm even in traffic, and the traffic here in Texas is just, it's cute compared to the traffic in California. So, yeah, it's all good. Being here is great. No state tax. Everything's cheaper. Even the expensive gas is cheaper. It feels like the price that I left California a couple of months ago followed me here. It's going to get bad, though. It's going to get bad, which sucks. Sucks for a lot of people. I live in McAllen, Texas, says Craig Rhodes Jr. Excellent. Hello, fellow Texan. I promise you, I will not vote like California. Yes, the traffic here, Adam D, is cute. That's the best description I can give it compared to. Have you ever been on the 405 in LA at rush hour? Have you ever been in Anaheim, right where Disneyland is, at rush hour, where the lane, I believe it's 16 lanes on each side. 16 fucking lanes of nuts or butts to nuts or nuts to butts traffic. Or at the 805-5 split in San Diego at rush hour. Yeah, that's effing traffic. Okay. That's a nightmare. Or when there was an accident and they closed down the Grapevine and I was sitting there so long. Actually, that was the first time I watched a television show remotely. That's right. This was, I can't even remember how long ago. I got my iPod out. The traffic was, they said this traffic is not moving for hours. So we turned off our car. I was there with my son and we fired up my iPod and we watched the finale of Alias like a couple of times in a row because that's the only thing I had downloaded on it. And that was the first TV show I watched remotely. It sucked, but we still watched it in traffic. Dead stopped, 16 lanes. Yeah, Eric, it's shit. Or even worse, being on the Bay Bridge, just waiting for that thing to fall down. Driving home from Oakland, when I worked at Oakland Acura for a while. That's before I bought the comic shop. Yeah, I worked in Oakland. Almost got carjacked. It was fun. When Q Factory reset Picard with a slap. Sheesh. Yeah, he slaps him. Ruben, I forgot to mention that. He slaps him and makes him bleed. Yeah, Q like domestically abuses Picard. My theory is Q is dying. Q is dying. So that's what he's upset about. Yeah, it was a factory reset. It was. Gary, you don't need to worry about what is it? I can't call him Beto. It's John Francis, right? What's his name again? John Francis. The guy who changed his name to make himself look a little more Hispanic. Abbott is 12 points ahead of him, and some polls have him 14 points. Texas will stay red. Good. Buford T. Justice for $10. Sydney Watson, I really like the cut of her jib. Said that she came here to fortify Texas, and that's what I did too. And I think that's the big difference about the migration this time, is I think there is a net positive this time. Now, if I could improve one thing about Texas, and it would just be one thing. I would just bring one thing from California, specifically San Diego. The Mexican food. The Mexican food is good here. I don't mean to disrespect it. It's good. I found a couple of places. Thumbs up. I ate it. I was happy. But there's just something about San Diego Mexican food that is just godlike. That I don't know why. There is some San Diego Mexican food in Arizona, and there is in Vegas. And it's not even in L.A. There's some in Anaheim, but there isn't any in L.A. It's a way they season and stuff. They need to bring it here. But they won't. But that's it. That's the only thing I would bring. That's it. And it was a bitch slap. Right. The fucking Q bitch slapped him. I'm like, damn. And then the fake blood came out. There was no hand mark or anything. trying to think of anything else. Yeah, the modernism, the way they talk, I hate it. I fucking hate it. For one, Picard says, I'm sick of this shit. Agnes is all shit, shit, shit. And then I think Picard says shit later again. And then they're like quipping about relationships with Rios. And it's Whedon speak. It's fucking Whedon speak in Star Trek. And I'm like, no. For one, as a guy who likes Buffy and Angel unapologetically, only Whedon from the 1990s can do Whedon speak. Joss Whedon can't even do his own speak anymore. So nobody else should try. And I miss, Red Letter Media said this in their review, I miss the way they spoke to each other. The evolved way that made it feel like we're watching something from the future. And it was all about the problem solving. And because you had a good cast together and very, 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 very talented writers who went on to do great, a lot of them did some great things later on. It made you care about the characters because that's, I watched Star Trek, you know, like my earliest memory of watching TV shows are 3 shows. Superman with George Reeves, Batman, Adam West Batman, and Star Trek. And Star Trek was the most sophisticated one out of the 3. So it's the first show that I remember watching that had real characters and characterization with personalities that I grew up, and I was always a Dr. McCoy guy. Like, I love Kirk and Spock, but like I always had a soft spot for Dr. McCoy. And that's what I look for is good characters. They can make up for a lot. We don't have good characters here. We had characters that got off to a bad start, quite frankly, because they all had to be emotionally damaged in some way. And I really hate what they did to 7 of 9. She's just angry lesbian now. Raffi is not, I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, no disrespect to the actors or anything, but they're not given very much. And that's Kurtzman. That's not going to change. Gary, you need to go to Vida Mia, a Mama Magias, and is it Tlaco Mexican Kitchen? I will check them all out. I will keep that in mind. I will go back and make notes and check them all out. Thank you very much. Alexander Boyon Strauss for $5. I probably messed up your middle name there. Texas needs Nerdbertos, says Eric K for $2. That would be, I don't need another thing to do. But if I can get, I don't know, maybe if I can get my son to do it. My son's really freaking good cook. That helps a lot. Having, you know, like if the 26-year-old's going to be living at home, he's like a personal chef. It's kind of cool. By the way, I insisted that he stayed at home during the COVID thing. That was my decision as much as it was his. Off topic. Did you like The Batman? David Kaplan for $5. Yes, I did. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought a great start was muddled by a too busy of an ending that clearly it's a longer movie that they cut down. Like there was more to it at the end that they had to rush, and there's no business rushing anything in a 3-hour movie unless it was a 4-hour movie. But I thought the ending was a bit messy. I thought the Riddler being an incel, like that's not the language they use, but that's what they were thinking. And it's the same bullshit they used in The Boys season 2. I hated that. But Robert Pattinson was fine. Wasn't big on his Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, which he was most of the time. You know, I like the cinematography. I love the music. I thought the Batmobile was pretty cool. So yeah. And like I'm a sucker for cape movies most of the time. I'll be very soft on cape movies. Just am. George Martin couldn't write his way out of a one-door outhouse. I love the studio, Gary. Thank you, Bada Boom, for $10. Bada Boom 1 for $10. I appreciate it. I am coming around to that belief. Now, as far as George R. Martin is concerned, The only thing I read Fever Dream a long time ago, thought it was pretty good, but I never just saw him as, I saw him more as a TV writer because I remember seeing him first with the second iteration of The Twilight Zone, which I loved. The one from the 80s. Holy shit. That was a good show. But I'll spoil the end part of my video. He set out to make his own fantasy, right? But also subvert tropes of Tolkien. The thing is, when you set out to subvert, you're basically setting out to destroy. Now, if you're going to be Alan Moore and do this in Watchmen, well, what is the little hook of Watchmen? Well, Alan Moore is a talented writer. Alan Moore is a talented writer, but it's Dr. Manhattan's quick reattachment with humanity, right? And still things get fucked up at the end, but as Alan Moore has gone on to say, he never meant for the comic industry to just try to repurpose and recreate Watchmen over and over again, but that's what it did, and it ended up burning everything down. George R. R. Martin cannot end this story because I don't think he ever intended to have anything heroic happen, but it needs to happen. You can't just have random chance without having something. If, I think a lot of people feel like this book was building up to something heroic with Jon Snow, be it through sacrifice, and he dies at the end, but he still has to do something heroic. And I just don't think that was going to happen in the book. I think it was going to end very, very nihilistically. And I think he's changed his ending probably like 7 times in the last few years. And that's not the only reason, by the way. I think another reason he's changed his book drastically was identity politics, getting introduced into science fiction and fantasy. That one I'm convinced of. And I think he overthought his shit. Way too much. Way too much. I also think he has impulse control issues. He has honesty issues. And quite frankly, I'm moved on. Like I started reading Elric and I fucking love it. So I'm fine. Like I obsessed over it a long time. It was my fault. I wasted my time. I trusted the guy. But his attitude in his last Nada blog is shit. Like it's straight up shit. Like whoever his people are, they need to tell him to shut the hell up. Like just shut it down. It's okay to have these feelings, all right, as a human being, but there's certain things we just keep to ourselves. Okay? Just a couple things. Like complaining like now about people asking you about a story they really want because they love it. Really, think about that. How many authors, I'm sure there's some authors out I'm talking to right now. How many of you would love to have that problem? People badgering you every day to finish the story that they love that made you insanely rich. I know. Bubba Doom won for $20. The 80s Twilight Zone was awesome. Arthur C. Clarke's episode, The Star, still makes me misty-eyed. Yeah. Oh, dude, it is so good. It started out with Bruce Willis in Shatter Day, and a buddy of mine wrote the Helgramite Method, which is about the alcoholic. And and George R. R. Martin worked on it. Michael Straczynski worked on it. Like, just look at it. It's a who's who of awesome on that show. Jerry Garcia worked on the theme. Matthew T. Webb, thank you for the $10. The super sticker. Now, I am no fan of Jerry Garcia, by the way. I am not a fan of the Grateful Dead. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Like a couple of their songs, Casey Jones. Everybody likes Casey Jones. Leon K for $4.99 says TNG still has the best sci-fi writing I've ever seen on any show. The people making Picard are an embarrassment to culture. Backgrounds look great, y'all. Cheers. Thank you very much. It's getting there. It's getting there. Still got a long way to go. I haven't even broke out the hot toys yet. Elric of And it took me forever. I mean, honestly, I don't think I was saying it right until I heard it in an audiobook. Or no, until I heard Razorfist say it. Because, I'm way late to Elric. Like, Razorfist turned me onto it. So, full credit to Razorfist. And he made 2 videos. If you want to watch a couple of good Elric videos, I highly recommend you go over to Razorfist's channel and watch them. Elric of Melniboné is not for the faint of heart. Blood and Souls of Eriok. It is not. But Blood Raven from A Song of Ice and Fire is Elric. But George R. R. Martin is buddies with Michael Moorcock, who hates J.R. Tolkien and has called him a fascist in the past. I put that aside. Because the guy wrote a good story, but he's a dick. And he's not as good of a writer as J.R.R. Tolkien. Casting was shit, Gary. Yes. All right, I got to run. It's getting late. Oh, I'll read a little bit more of the chat in this Magnus. Okay, I can read. Magnus Lord for $5. What did you think of Batman's No Man's Land story arc? Worth $159 for Road 2 and Volume 1 Omnibus. Any interest in getting the Onslaught Omnibus reprint? Well, I have all the Onslaught comics. So if I didn't have the comics, I would, the full run, I would probably get the Omnibus. Onslaught was fun. It was like, but I will tell you this. After I read Onslaught, I was done with X-Men. Like I went into my comic shop and I'm all, no more X-Men. I'm kind of over them. Because it was just X-Men everything. And I was a Spider-Man guy. So I traded my X-Men in and I started reading more DC. There was a lot of good, Chuck Dixon DC going on at that time. No Man's Land's good. It's good. I would definitely read it. Batman has been a solid book for many, 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 many years prior to Tom King coming in and fucking it up. But I would say Batman was a solid book from the Denny O'Neil to the Hush and beyond. One of the most consistently solid books ever. Batman didn't have until Tom King came around, didn't have a one more day like Spider-Man did. God, I need to do a nooner. Romulo Garcia, if you had a phaser and you could eliminate the character from Picard that annoys you the most on the show, who would it be? I'd blast Agnes away. Yeah, I would too. Just for killing Bruce Maddox like a dog. Poor guy. All right, let me go check one more thing before I go here. Princess Unicorn for $4.99. Pahrump, Nevada, home of Art Bell, is getting a Roberto's next week. I'll eat a carne asada burrito in your honor. Cheers. Oh, hail. Hail, Princess Unicorn, by the way. I know who you are. I miss Art Bell. But hey, Pahrump is gaining a great restaurant. Roberto's is fantastic. If Roberto's rolls into your town, celebrate. Loco Madman says, I like Picard season 2 so far. Roast me. No, I won't roast you. I would never. I mean, there's no hope for Star Trek anyway. I mean, like I said, we had a chance. If people stopped watching at Star Trek Discovery Season 2 or Picard Season 1, shit might have changed, but stuff's not going to change now. It's going to be a decade and a half before it gets revamped again. If it gets revamped again, I think the legacy of Star Trek is in jeopardy because of Kurtzman. I do. They might try it again, but if they get this Star Trek 4 made and they put it out in theaters, it will bomb. The shockwave from that dud will circle the Earth 5 or 6 times. It'll be such a bomb. And that will tell you where Star Trek is, because they've been hiding those numbers for a reason, because they're astronomically low for the amount of money they put in. But it all goes into the big streaming pie. So it's a lot different these days. It's a lot different these days. Let me check over here. We got a great guest tomorrow on Friday Night Tights. We got Christian Toto. Wrote a great book. He was on Tim Pool. We're going to talk a lot about woke Hollywood tomorrow and the origins of woke Hollywood with somebody who's there, somebody who's brave enough to speak up against it. One of the very few, very, very few. Goob for $5 on donation side. Thank you. Says, hey, Gary, you should contact Razor Fist and be a guest on an episode of Depths of Deep Space Nine. Would be a fucking awesome collaborative. Oh, well, I would have to go back and rewatch Deep Space Nine, like his knowledge of it. And he has, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his co-host's name, but it would be an honor. I would do my homework. Absolutely. But we'll get, I don't know, maybe we'll get Razor Fist back on the channel soon to do something fun. Destiny Captain for $3 says, also glad to see you're in Texas. If you ever have a reason to stop by Lubbock, would love to buy you a coffee and shoot the crap for a bit. If it is, I'm still getting my bearings. So if it's like, I'm going to be going to Dallas eventually. I'm going to be going back to California very soon. We got to take care of some stuff with Mom, and I'm going to WonderCon. I'm going to Comic-Con, going to Vegas, a lot of stuff, a lot of traveling ahead. So if it's near anywhere I'm going to travel, or even if I go the other direction, I will come by. Berserk Shirt Bear for $1 says he's been recommended before, but Bill Whittle for Friday Night Tights, he said he sent some emails and he's cool. He did send some emails. We did get them. And yeah, like I will pass it by the guys and X-Ray Girl. X-Ray Girl. It handles all of the booking. I do not. But I will pass it on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Destiny Captain for $3. Gary, definitely feels like an influx of Berman era people. Oh, I read this one. Okay, so we're good. All right, I'm going to run. Hopefully I didn't miss one. I'm going to make sure I don't want to go leaving any behind. So hang on. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, isn't the Borg having a queen derogatory to the alphabet community? Oh, wait, they're all about assimilating people, says James Bursey for $5. Yeah. And when they simped Gul Dukat, I said no more. Gul Dukat wouldn't be in power if this timeline existed. Yes, you're right. There's so many. They just needed to get the member berries out there. Why? Okay. Why are you decapitating Sarok in front of his son, who's really effing old? And would it be Spock? So thank you, Greg Rhodes Jr. And I appreciate you all. Hopefully I did not miss one. Review all the Doctor Who stuff and every independent review all the Doctor Who stuff and every other independent creator. Make them famous. We drive the content. Vote with your dollar, says the Common Nerd for $5. Thank you. You're absolutely right. I'm trying to convince myself to like Picard, says Alan Morrison for $20. You're a fan. That's what you're going to do. I'm not going to judge you for that. I would never do that. I mean, occasionally I'm called bitter. Sure. Yeah. Totally. Human. It pisses me off. It pisses me off when when I see the stuff I love gets vandalized. Yeah. Not going to shut up about it. As long as I can open my pie hole, I'm going to fucking talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Thank you, Alan. Alan, I appreciate it. It's weird how like these freaking super chats. Blue-eyed Scorpio for $1.99 says, "Hey, favorite Gary, I appreciate that being your favorite Gary. I do. It's weird how they. Oh, you don't want to know. In the back end, they like some will be missing and then they mess up the order. This is why I have X-Ray Girl. This is why I have an X-Ray Girl. All right. I really appreciate you guys coming around. Did I see Echo Base Network in here? What's up, guys? Thanks for the invite. Happy birthday. I didn't want to come and piss on your parade. I saw Coach. I was watching a little bit of the live stream. I was watching and Coach was getting depressed. You know, hey, Star Wars is depressing. It's depressing. And I would have come in, I would have made him more depressed because I thought it was shit. I thought it was total shit. They get a Kenobi trailer and we see this like Inquisitor jumping around for half the trailer. I'm like, where's Kenobi? He's just looking sad in the beginning and at the end. He's a broken man. And it's going to be little Princess Leia who shows him how to be the man he wants to be. I mean, I've seen this story before. I don't care. It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. It doesn't look like Star Wars. Yeah, Ewan McGregor's there. That's great. Fantastic. So what? He's babysitting a quitter. That's how I see it. Hail Echo Base, though. I don't want to rain on your parade. I really didn't want to do that, but thanks for the invite. All right, this is Staying Up. I'll see you tomorrow on Friday Night Tights with Christian Toto, and maybe we'll I don't know. I was kind of thinking we should get Eric July on tomorrow too, because Christian's only gonna be on for like an hour or two. Like Eric's been in the news. Well, I mean, in our sphere, not the news, but somebody went after Eric. That's just not a good idea. It's just not a very good idea. But woo, the stuff they're calling him. Damn. But Eric defends himself just fine. Just fine. What a loser, Eric July. Owns his house, has a studio there, beautiful wife. I mean, he only raps and plays music. I mean, he doesn't conduct any orchestras or anything. So what a total loser. He's on the Blaze. He's got time for Mario Kart. Who's got time for that shit? I don't know if he doesn't sleep. I don't know, but absolute loser because he doesn't rent a studio from somebody else and he doesn't get bitches. Take the L, Eric. All right. And Ryan getting called out for saying like the tamest shit he said in about a month, which is hilarious. The world is strange. It's just getting stranger every day. It really is. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Friday Night Tights will be fun. I can promise you that. We'll see if Az is awake this episode, because I'm seeing his Elden Ring streams get longer and longer. I'm waiting for the 24-hour Elden Ring stream. But according to Az, he can say no whenever he wants. Why'd you get timed out? How could you get timed out on a Star Trek review? Maybe Eric's sleepy. I don't know. All right, I'm going to go. Thanks, everyone. Love you guys. You're brilliant. And we'll see you tomorrow at 3:30. Look for Super Chat Square Up will be out sometime tomorrow. I got to finish recording some of it still, but it'll be out tomorrow. And I'm going to bed. So good night.